Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Purpose Show. I am your host, Monica. My co-host, my handsome and brown-skinned debonair husband, Keith, is not here because he has given me the month of March, because it is Women's History Month, to celebrate all things women. And so if you tuned in last week, we were blessed with the Queen herself, Queen Mother. My mother, Carolyn Williams, joined the show, and we chatted it up. I made a few drinks. I think I made 2 cocktails last week, and had a really good time. Talked about everything under the sun, and so we're going to continue the conversation. And I have invited two of one of my most favoriteest people in the whole wide world, who also happen to be sorors of mine, members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So we have Miss Candace Johnson and Miss Katie Brinson-Hinton. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
So we're going to continue our conversation and just celebrating all the melanin magic that is Black women. I'm going to try. I said last week, because I burned it. Y'all saw me burn up those waffles. I said, I'm not going to try to cook this time. So listen, me and my husband y'all see us fuss and fight on the show. I need him because I can't do this and talk, and I can't cook and talk, and I can't do all at the same time. So I literally need him by my side. So I will be thankful when my husband returns in April. But for now, I'm going to try to mix up some drinks as I'm engaging my sisters in this show. But I am so thankful that you all have joined me this Saturday morning. And I'm just going to jump right into it. So I invited these two women because I am in awe of them in terms of just the way, particularly in this season of the pandemic, but just even before then, all the different things that they're able to do and how they pivot in different circumstances. And so I would love for you all, I think people can introduce themselves better themselves. So Candace, go ahead and start and introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Yes. Well, of course, Monica, thank you so much for having me this morning. As she stated, everyone, I am Candace Johnson. Many of you know me as Kandace, dancer, artistic director, choreographer, all that jazz, right? Doing productions, touring, things like that, anything that really has to do with performing arts. And so I would just really start off saying, can we say thank you for the pivot? Because I did, I made a pivot. And although my pivot, I think to some may seem completely different than what I was already doing, it's really not, because some of the things within my pivot when it comes to styling of what I'm doing now was really a part of what I was doing with my dance studio. And so I've added, I should say, on as a stylist, an independent stylist with a brand called Cabby. I knew about this business for a really long time. And so I actually started the business February. And March is when the pandemic hit. So I actually built my business during the pandemic. And I think what really spoke to me with this was, after becoming a mom, you kind of get in this rut of yoga pants and a nice little tank, which was also a part of my dance career because I'm always moving. And so Cabby really just gave me the opportunity. It gave me purpose to come back and focus on myself, layer some pieces, look fashion forward. If I'm going to the soccer field, I still look cute in my Cabby, things like that. But the pivot has just really worked for me. And as I said before, I'm just super thankful for the pivot and the opportunity to carry on this additional hat as a Cabby stylist.
Awesome. And it's Cabby, C-A-B-I, right?
Yes.
Okay.
C-A-B-I.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Katie Brenson, I'm gonna move this camera a little bit because I'm gonna sit as we chit chat and talk. Katie B, your turn.
Hey everyone. So I'm Katie Brenson, also known as Katie Brinson-Hinton in one of my other areas. So I actually met Monica through her sister, which is my friend, and in law school. And I'm a practicing attorney for 15 years. about 4 or 5 years ago, I've always loved fashion, regardless of the fact that my parents did not dress me well. Once I got so true, I'm so not lying. Once I got my own money, i.e., whether it was through financial aid at Florida State University or some way, shape, or form, I used that money and decided to dress how I wanted to dress, and then I fell in love with dressing other people. And then once I of course I didn't focus on that in law school, etc. I went on with my career. However, probably about 5 years ago, one of the artists and who's also a friend of mine went on The Voice, and I made him let me dress him, and it just turned from there. But more importantly, not just starting the business. Once I realized this could become something, it also gave me a balance of not wanting to slap everybody in my law practice. So that is what made me pivot to finding balance from the stress of what I do full time. And also, as Candace said, when you're styling others, you sort of have a standard, and you have to, it makes you push yourself as a mom when you want to just stay in the same yoga pants for 3 days. It makes you keep a standard for yourself. So that is a little bit of who I am.
So now y'all understand why I invited both of these ladies on. So both of you all kind of mentioned, Katie didn't use the word, but Candace, you did, in terms of purpose, right? And so I have often said, I being a lawyer is what I do, but it's not who I am.
Correct.
And so in terms of your purpose, Candace and Katie, do you believe that styling other people? That's a service. Is it a part of your purpose?
I definitely believe it's a part of mine, because it's beyond the clothes. Mm-hmm. While we're touching their exterior, and Candace could add on, you are actually you're actually getting in touch with that person, who they are, because what they look like should reflect who they are and where they're going. You're touching a vulnerable place, because people have insecurities. I have insecurities. So please cover up my fat arms. But it is, so you touch people in a vulnerable place, and then you're able to, I don't want to spiritual, minister to them. You're able to enhance them from the inside out. The outside is just the final finishing. So it is a part of purpose of lifting up, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, to help them feel like who God made them to be. Amazing.
Yes. Candace, what about you?
Absolutely. Ditto to everything that Katie said. I do believe that it is a part of my purpose. My purpose is of service. And so when I go back and I really, really dig deep down into what that purpose is, it's dealing with my students. It's reaching other women, as Katie mentioned, working from the inside out. Same thing that I used to do with my students. Our mantra, I believe deep down in my heart that I'm destined for great things. That's working from the inside and bringing it on the outside. Because if you believe it and you begin to feel it, when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. That's another one. And so I do believe that it is a part of our purpose to be a servant, as well as, for me, a creator. Okay. I enjoy creating. And so I see a lot of my clients as that moment to, let's create together. Okay. Let's get on this canvas, let's get on this floor, and let's create.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I have been styled by Katie, and my plan is to also be styled by Candace, but in full disclosure, I have been one of Katie's clients, and I will share with you that I think I'm pretty confident in myself. But I will be full transparency, because that's what we do on this show. I don't like all parts of me. And I think a part of it, in terms of my physique, I think a part of it is growing up, I've always had an ample bottom. And so that was something growing up that I was taught to diminish, just because we want to draw attention to it. And I know there are some people in the reverse. Some people are more ample up top. And we teach our girls to, I don't want to say shrink ourselves, but to diminish that part of themselves that they have no control over, in order to ensure that other folks don't react negatively. So I know Katie pushed me beyond my limits and she had me fierce for my 40th birthday party. But when you find those clients that are like, I don't like my arms, I don't wear this size, you're giving me too small. How do you move them beyond that point? And Candace, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll move to Katie.
Yeah, just speaking about Cabby in general, this is really one of the things that I love about this company and this brand itself. I'm able to have those samples on hand. So when I'm dealing with my clients, or for instance, we were in this pandemic. So no, I could not touch, my clients and be hands-on, but I can drop off a bag, which we call a boutique in a bag. So I have no problems dropping off a bag. You grab your bag. When you're done, I'll come and pick it up. But being able to touch and feel the clothing, being able to see yourself, being able to layer these pieces where you may just want to wear black. I love black. I wear black every day if I can. You understand? If I want to. Yeah. But being able to see yourself in the different prints and in the different colors. And I think that really is what helps. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to feel it. And so if my clients can feel that energy from me, then I know that they're able to move on to that next step of like, oh, okay, I do feel good. Okay, I do look good, as well as undergarments. I'm big about undergarments too. You got to have on a proper undergarments. You understand?
I'm a believer in that. Yes, ma'am.
When you are putting on these clothes, you know? So that's another part of it when I'm Katie, same way, dealing with your clients, you're like, okay, sis, let's go and get this space, or let me show you this, to kind of pull, lift, push, shift. You understand?
Yeah. So before I move to you, Katie, so for our people who are watching, I am now making a drink. So I figured if we're going to sip tea and have a conversation, I like a nice cocktail, and it is kind of still the morning hour, so I ain't gonna do nothing hard, but I'm gonna make 2 drinks that have champagne as its base. I am not a champagne person, but this first one is a pomegranate orange champagne cocktail. And I'm gonna share it on our page, but all you need is an ounce of chilled pomegranate juice, and I actually have this pomegranate cranberry juice. You need an ounce of fresh orange juice. I'm not going to fresh squeeze no orange juice, but you can fresh squeeze if you want. And then some pomegranate seeds. I don't like champagne. I'm going to add a little bit of simple syrup, not much, because you don't want to take away the freshness of the drink. And I'm going to mix it while you're talking. So, Katie, same question. Go ahead.
So what is the simple, this is about cocktail. If you don't like champagne, what is the substitution? Why do you use the simple syrup as a substitution?
Simple syrup makes it sweeter. Like champagne is, this recipe calls for champagne. Prosecco is a little bit sweeter, and I'm not a wine connoisseur, but Prosecco is a little bit sweeter. So if you don't, all I have is champagne, which is why I'm going to use a little bit of simple syrup to kind of sweeten it just a little bit. But if you have Prosecco, you can just put Prosecco in this drink because it's a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
I just don't have
Prosecco.
So anyway, okay. So Katie, same question in terms of how do you? I know what you bullied me. I hate to use that word because I know that's a bad word. That's basically what you did. You was like, girl, you finna put in. And Katie is, as you can tell, she's both of these women are very excited about being stylists. And so Katie came in with racks in my house, had already pre-selected everything. She pulled this dress out. I was like, girl, I can't wear that. No, Monica, it's gonna be fabulous. It's exactly, Katie, really animated. It's gonna be fabulous. You gotta put it on. So I know how you did me. You said you wearing this and you're gonna put it on, and then once you put it on, I was like, oh my God, this is nice. So how do you do all your clients like that, or do you just say?
I think I did Candace like that too.
I was about to say she did me like that too.
I did Candace like that at her studio, to be exact. I sure did. It was so. So I hear the thing is, I believe that Ethan, I do it as well. We don't sometimes, not just as Black women, general people, when it's something outside of our normal element, sometimes we cancel it out before we even try it. So a common thing, I don't want to be stereotypical, a lot of brown men say, oh no, I don't eat sushi. Well, have you tried it before?
Yeah.
Just try. Sometimes it's a matter of trying it. And then if you don't like it, you don't like it. The same applies with, like Candace was just talking about. She may put stuff in a boutique in a bag that 90% of the stuff will be what she knows her clients will like. But our job is to let's stretch you a little and open you up and create something new that you don't even know. You've canceled it out in your mind, but you don't even know that it could look amazing on you. And then the other part is sometimes, like she said, you can see something on a rack and it's like, it has no life, it has no character. And then you put your body, whether it's a size 2 body, whether it's a size 42 body, you put that body into it and it's a life, it brings life to it. So I try to always bring something. If I see something that I think, hey, I think they could look great in it, it will be different, but I bring 90% of the stuff you asked me to bring, and then I'm always going to ask you to be open to try on what you don't think will work. Sometimes it works, and sometimes I'll say, yeah, okay, maybe we'll need to go with the size, maybe. But and then it just opens you. Prime example. So my dad is one of my favorite force clients. He is 69 years old, right? So he's a preacher, and he was used to wearing all those, I call them suits of God in Christ suits, the big ones. So I don't know why y'all have me on the show. So one time I just found him a slim boss suit. It was Hugo Boss suit for 75% off, and I just made him wear it. And after that, he was like, I'm gonna get some more of those skinny suits. He thought it was so skinny. And it's like, no, you actually wear this size and you look refined. And then once his nephew started asking him for it, so if he didn't stretch it, he wouldn't have known that he now loves slim fit suits. And that applies in every area of life. Of just try it. What's the worst thing that can happen if you try it?
You try it. That's right.
Well, it is so funny that you say that, Katie, because I know you styled. Sorry, I had to get my strainer out of the serum. You styled Keith, and Keith said the same thing, that you got him one of those slim fitting suits. He looked really, really good. He was like, "These too skinny, Katie. I can't wear this." And so kudos to you. Kudos to you. So you what you call them, forced clients, Katie?
Forced clients. And then the other thing, Candace can attest. When you are feeding somebody positive, that's the whole thing about the purpose. You're encouraging them in what they already feel insecure. You tell them, no, you will look amazing. You have you're not big. That's so big that you have to wear your clothes frumpy. When you give somebody in a positive light, rather than somebody laughing like, "Oh no, this is never going to work," they feel at least the confidence to try it in front of you. It's a place of safety as well.
Okay.
So that place of safety gives them the security of they're not going to be laughed at, they're not going to be picked at, and they don't have to worry about being embarrassed if it doesn't work.
Right. So I'm gonna update our guests, our Pete folks, what I'm doing. So I have, excuse the noise. I get some ice. So what I have done right now is I have taken you're gonna slice an orange, take the juice of the orange, put it around the top of the champagne glass. So and then once you do that, I have a plate of sugar, of just some regular sugar, and you just turn it upside down, turn it, and so you have sugar around the rim of your champagne glass.
Oh, okay.
Yep. This is good.
Fancy.
So in here, I have the pomegranate juice, the orange juice, a little bit of simple sugar, simple syrup rather. Lord, messing up. Do this, put this in here. I'm gonna shake it real quick. So I do want to ask y'all, after I shake this, I do want to ask y'all a question about how you all have, because being a stylist, that's all it looks like on the inside. Just shake that up, put your strainer on. Being a stylist requires you to be in person. And so how have y'all can't touch people, or you ain't supposed to be touching people, or I guess you can touch people, but how have you been able to, I know Candace, you touched on it a little bit. You said that you're dropping stuff off, and because part of the styling, I think, process is the one-on-one interaction with your clients. Yeah. So how are you able to do that in the midst of a pandemic?
I would say I was fortunate enough, when the pandemic hit with the business, we already had the platform set up for us to go virtual. And so that alone was just a blessing, because not only now am I able to reach clients within my city, but now I can reach clients across the map. So I have clients in California, I have clients in DC, people that I went to college with, etc. So I was able to broaden my reach at that point. So that alone was beneficial for me within my business, outside of, yes, doing a boutique in a bag, and then still doing one-on-ones, whether it's Zoom, FaceTime, whatever it is, and being available to your clients if they have any questions or concerns. So that was definitely how I was able to really maintain the interaction with my clients.
Okay. Yeah. Katie?
I ditto that. It actually broadened it stretch you where it's okay, we're gonna go shopping FaceTime. We are going to, okay, call me when you get to the mall. It also will, like Candace said, putting together a package, sending it off. The majority of my shopping was online. I don't think I went to a mall for 9 months, which is unheard of. So help Jesus. So when during that time I learned new boutiques online. I got new relationships with a lot of people that are in other areas, and it force you to highlight, hey, we can do virtual styling, and if I can do virtual court, I can do virtual styling. That's right. With the same mechanisms and platforms as we would do any other typical job. It just requires the you don't get I don't get the rough up you guys. Both of you guys, I just put the clothes on you. I may not be able to do that. But it gives them the freedom of, and it's less time consuming, believe it or not. And you get the convenience of, if I want to have a fitting at 11 p.m. with someone in California, it's much more convenient because we can do it via Zoom or FaceTime. So
let me ask this question. And so real quick, so what I've added now is I've added pomegranates in the bottom, some pomegranate seeds. Just get a spoonful of pomegranate seeds, put them in the bottom of your champagne glass. I'm going to open up this. So I'm going to tell you, last week I used Black Girl Magic champagne, or sparkling wine. I don't remember what kind of sparkling wine it was. It may not have been champagne, but it was sparkling wine from Black Girl Magic, which is the McBride sisters, which is Black owned. And this week I am using this Blanc de Blancs, which is also a carbonated white wine. And this is Merseco by Mimosa. And the young lady who created this, Desiree Norset, will be on our show next week. So this also is a Black-owned wine company.
She created that?
She created this. So
I did not know that.
This is I hate to give plugs for other people, but this is in Total Wine. So I got this in Total Wines here. So, but Desiree will be on our show next week. So I'm super excited.
That is so fabulous.
Good. So I'm going to pop this top, and just because we talk about Black women-owned businesses, I'm going to ask y'all to plug in terms. We're going to have a conversation about that. I'm also a Pimper Chef consultant. If you open champagne, y'all open champagne bottles, and you take the top off, and then you don't have a way to continue to keep the air in.
Yes.
This is a champagne stopper that will, if you push it down, it'll keep all the bubbles in, and then pop, it comes off. I'll send y'all the link if y'all want to get this, if y'all like champagne.
Yes, please send the link.
So you're gonna pour this in. I always mess up on this because I always go over. Woo!
That looks good.
It does.
I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. Usually I try stuff out before I make it. I have not tried this, so this will be my first time tasting this. Ooh, that's good.
All right.
Can you put the link for Desiree's wine as well?
Yeah. So say that again now.
Can you put the link for Desiree's wine and the
I sure will. I'll send both. So I do want to ask a question in terms of, I know you talked at the beginning about, Candace, your background is dance, artistic director, you're an artist. Katie, your background is law. You both made transitions. When you made the transition, was it an easy decision to make that transition? Did you think about saying, okay, I'm gonna go full throttle doing this, or is it easier just to maintain that balance between the two? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense.
So when you made the transition, was the transition easy? That's the first question. And the second question is, after you made the transition, has there ever been any thought to say, I'm going to pursue this full time? Or do you like that wearing multiple hats?
You want me to go first? I can go first.
Mm-hmm.
I like wearing multiple hats. I think it's a part of my creative crazy, and I have officially embraced that. You know,
creative crazy.
I love that.
I like that.
You know, when this hat came about, you know, I had closed my studio, and anyone that's, you know, within the arts world, even with your profession, there are moments where you're like, you know what, I don't like it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm over it. And that's where I was with dance in general. You know, I didn't want to dance. I wanted to say, oh, I'm retired.
Yeah.
No, you know, but that's where I was in that space. And so when Cabby came along, it allowed me to still be creative, you know, it still kind of put me in that zone. I enjoyed, you know, doing pictures with my family or my cousins or things like that. But it allowed me to reach other women and still other people, just as I was with my studio. Now, where I am in this space, I'm still teaching dance. I still have the desire to be artistic director and things like that, but I'm able to use this fashion Cabby platform to still be creative in a way, you know, whether it's with photo shoots, like I said before, or just with myself and others. Was it difficult to make the transition? No. I don't think it wasn't difficult at all. It wasn't. The young lady that actually informed me about Cabby, she would come down from Atlanta all the time and do her shows. So it was something that I knew about. I had a connection with already. So it wasn't difficult. Go ahead. I know we have 3 minutes.
Yeah, we got about 3 minutes until the break. So Katie, same question. We got 3 minutes till break. So
I ditto everything Candace said. For me, to be quite honest, it helped save me from going crazy, and like I had a negative. I was always complaining about full-time law. I couldn't necessarily go. Needless to say, of course, I can't charge somebody $300 an hour for personal styling. So I know that I couldn't. I have to balance the two. I'm also a single mom, so sometimes it is hard. Like right now, I'm doing this as I'm at my son's game. It is very hard, but it's a necessity in order for me to be a balanced mom, to be balanced mentally and emotionally. And my career that I can't, the law career, I can't necessarily control some of the atmospheres that are stressful, some of the political atmospheres. So this one, being able to create and see the product right then and there, and see the smile on people's faces, the satisfaction, whether whether it certainly is not as financially advantageous. So it had to be a multiple thing. I couldn't do just solely one.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna come back from break. We're gonna take a break, pay some bills, and then In Touch News got to pay some bills. But we'll be back. And on the other side of the break, I want to get more into just holistically, just Black women. This feels like Black women's decade. I don't know what 5 years is, but it feels like we are on the up. And I do want to get you all's perspective and thoughts on that. So we will be back. This is a Soul Purpose Show on In Touch News, where everyone is a star. We will be back after the commercial break.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke. But this text program...
All you sports fans, tune in every Monday morning to listen to Mic'd Up Mondays with Michael Clayton. You don't want to miss this.
On In Touch Radio. Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do what makes.
We are back. We're back. Welcome to the Soul Purpose Show. I am your host, Monica Harris. If you missed the first half, you missed a phenomenal conversation. I am joined today with two wonderful, beautiful women, Candace Johnson and Brinson-Hinton, who both are fashion stylists, and they are juggling multiple hats because that's not all they do. But I wanted to talk in this half just about, we talked a little bit about this before we went live, about how this seems to be the year of the sister, or maybe it's like the last 10 years. We've always been phenomenal, right? Let's be clear. We've always been, this Black girl magic has been around since we came upon this earth. But it seems that we have always been ignored, right? And for everybody else, for other people, whether it's folks trying to silence us by saying we're too aggressive when we're just asserting our positions, whether it's asking us to shrink ourselves in order to make other people feel comfortable. I kind of feel like we're in a place where that's not happening anymore, or we're telling folks we're not going to do that anymore. I don't know which one it is. But I would love to get you all's thoughts about kind of where is that just me that's feeling that way? Or do you all get the sense that it's a kind of a new day for other people's positive responses to us? Is that just me, or y'all feeling the same way too?
Oh no, I definitely feel that way. You know, we are busting through ceilings. Do you understand? Like, we are making noise, and it is continuing to, I believe, fuel us and empower us as Black women, as we continue to see each other, as we continue to uplift each other in different areas of our lives and platforms. It's only giving us more fire to the fuel at the end of the day. But I definitely feel that this is our moment. This is our time. Maybe like Monica, like you and I were saying, maybe it does have a heightened because of Kamala, you know, it could be that. But I just feel that it's also just us coming together. I think it's the unity within us as Black women that's really making a strong impact. Yeah.
KB?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's the world. We've been hidden figures. The movie just wasn't the movie, it's the truth. But we've been grinding like ducks. And then now I think recently it's more than the national. We're coming in here banging faces, taking over in a national perspective, in positions that have often been not laced but overwhelmed, full, and that we've been overlooked for. So now we're taking it by force. Yeah. So the world has no other choice but to see that we rock. We are going to rock, and surprise world, we've always been rocking. Yeah, it just took you all forever to see it.
So I'm gonna tell you what's so funny. So did y'all see the clip of Marsha Fudge, Secretary of HUD now, when she did her news conference yesterday? She walked into the press briefing room and she said, "Good morning, everybody," or "Good afternoon," and no one said anything. And she said, "Good afternoon."
Yes.
So I don't know about y'all, but I felt that in my spirit and in my soul, because I was like, that's happened to me several times before. You walk into a room, you say good afternoon, and then no one says anything. No one says anything. It's never us that does it. It's normally when we're walking into a room when it's a diverse group of folks that don't speak in response. But I thought that her pausing and saying, "No, you're going to acknowledge me," is kind of just a story about kind of where we are right now. That was kind of what I took from that. I got auntie vibes too, but that's kind
auntie
of
vibes. Yes. She definitely gave us auntie vibes.
All right, I do want to ask this question because Katie, you mentioned this in the first half, and we're both attorneys, so we're definitely in male-dominated spaces and white male-dominated spaces. And I felt when you said that this legal profession can be emotionally and mentally taxing on people in general, but I think specifically Black women, which is why when you look at the statistics, most Black women don't stay at firms. Right. So you've been at your firm, I'm at a firm, we've been in our firms the whole legal career, and finding those spaces to release, to have a release, I think is vitally important. And Candace, I'm not as familiar with the dance, the choreography world, if it's similar in that regard. But I would be interested in knowing kind of how you all manage that, because even though you're still doing the stylist, which is your ability to be creative and to serve other people, how you still are able to navigate those spaces that you are also in that are still dominated very heavily, if that's the case, by men, and how you're able to process that, because it's still very, very challenging. I still feel that I don't feel the need anymore. Several years ago, I did feel the need to shrink myself. I don't feel that need anymore, but there are still people that are wanting us to shrink ourselves in those male-dominated spaces. So I don't know, Katie, do you have she went blank. Katie still there? I'm gonna flip it to you then, Candace. Candace, is that the case in the dance world or no?
Yeah, definitely having that experience within the dance world. I wouldn't just necessarily say with white males, okay, but acceptance of body types, for sure. Because for myself, just speaking in general, I'm very curvy. I'm more petite. Have an athletic build, so it wasn't your typical dance body, for that ballerina or things like that, with the curve in my lower lumbar and, things of that nature. So I wasn't considered, to be that ballerina. And so I had to really dig deep within myself and begin to know my worth and value and appreciate my body now in this time, appreciate my thick legs, that I've been blessed with, appreciate my hips and my bottom, and all the athleticism of my body. But I remember a time I was in an audition, and I was auditioning for the Eagles because I went to school in Philly. And so I know I was jamming. Okay, I was jamming. The girls were like, "Ooh, girl, you killed it." Okay, cool. Well, the young lady says, she gets on the mic and she's like, "Ladies, this is not BET. We want more MTV." And I said, "Excuse me?"
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
So does that happen in our field? Absolutely. At that moment in time, I mean, you're surrounded with hundreds of girls, and then you have the audition table in front of you. So what do I do? Go up to her and no, absolutely not. You nod, you say, okay, you reflect, but you go back on round 2 and you give her more BET. Because what you will not do is, you will not belittle me. You will not. I'm going to give you all of this glory, and I will continue to move and continue to climb the ladder. And because of that mindset, as Black women, we have that mindset anyway. Like, you're not going to stop us at the end of the day. You continue to grow and you continue to climb high in that ladder. And that's how I was able to be successful within my career of being able to keep my peace.
Yeah. So because that's a huge, my mouth is still open. That's a huge microaggression. Katie, and I know, Katie, because we're in the same field, that we've absolutely, I can only speak for myself, but I know that you've dealt with the same thing, because you're actually in an area that not very many Black people, both of us are in areas not many Black people are in, but I know specifically you do bankruptcy work, and there's not a lot of Black folks in that space. And so how do you deal with those type of, because sometimes they're microaggressions, but lots of times they're macroaggressions. So how do you keep your sanity and not, like Candace said, I'm not going to go off on you, even though deep down inside you want to go off? How do you maintain your dignity and your composure and not let them see you sweat when you're approached or you're given that type of macroaggression or even a microaggression at work?
Yeah, I will say, let me be crystal clear. I hate every second of it. And and just listening to Candace talking, I remember asking Candace when I was styling her, I absolutely love her entire physique. And I'm like, oh my God, if I had your body. And she explained, she said, the pressure of in that area, in the dance society, her body, which I think is a 10, so oftentimes it's too curvy to fit. Well, me, I'm a prime example. My voice is not the softest. Whether I'm black or not, my voice is not the softest. In certain environments that I work in, I've been asked to talk, I'm even when I'm not projecting, to talk at someone else's cultural level. And to the point where if I was so focused on sounding like somebody else, I wasn't even focused on practicing the law of what I was presenting. So I started stuttering because am I talking soft enough for them? Is this offending them? And when I saw it hindering me, I had to find a way of, okay, let me go ahead and put this out there. My voice projects and not intentional. So I'm going to back away. Don't give me a microphone. I'm going to sit over here. Well, before COVID, I'm going to stand on this side of the room because my voice projects. I want you to hear me clearly. And if I go into another voice, it won't be as productive. So you go over here and let me talk the way I'm talking.
Yeah.
And then in some ways I've had to deduce to writing when if I know that I've been disrespected or demeaned, and I know that my temperament at that time will be reflected in the sharpness of my tone, I then have to take some time. I've had to go into my office and just write it so that I'm still articulate, but I'm still correcting you in a way that you understand. My place is still my place. I will continue to be usually the only black, the only woman, the only black person in a room full of other people. And you will still hear me. And then sometimes I know when to just be quiet. I don't often, there are sometimes we go overboard where it's like, no, I need to know I'm here, but you really have nothing to say. If I have nothing to say, I'm confident enough to sit back and listen. And it's okay if they don't hear my voice, if my purpose is to sit back and listen so I can win your case for you.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn the balance. And I will be, there are some days I go in and remind them, and verbally, I'm black. It just would be
I love you so much, KB. Yeah. So I'm going to make another cocktail for those folks who are champagne people. This is another one. This is a limoncello champagne cocktail. And if you like ginger, this has ginger liqueur in it. So I've never tasted this, so this may have a little spice to it. So I'm doing it live on the show. So again, you're going to rim, it's lemon. So you're going to get a lemon. You're going to rim the edge of your champagne glass. Y'all, I'm not a mixologist. Y'all can do this at home. I promise you, that's not that hard. You got your sugar on your rim of your glass. So Katie, so I do want to ask this question as I'm doing this. Y'all both have mentioned voices, whether it's your voice is an artistic expression or your actual voice. How important is it? And I tell young ladies this all the time that I mentor, that your voice is probably the most powerful tool that you have. And don't allow someone, because of their insecurities, to silence or diminish your voice. How important is it, particularly in this space? Because we've always used our voices, whether it was Sojourner Truth, whether it was Harriet Tubman, Fannie Lou Hamer, Constance Baker Motley, Shirley Chisholm. We've always used our voice. How important is it, and why is it that our voices are so important, especially now? And as you do this, I'm gonna tell you real quick before y'all answer that question. So for this, you need 2 ounces of limoncello liqueur. This is already sweet, so I'm not gonna add any simple syrup to it. The ginger liqueur, you need 2 ounces of that. You need some fresh lemon juice and then a cup of ice, and then you have your champagne. So that's what I'm putting in my little shaker. So that's the question. The question is how important, why are our voices so important? And what advice do you have for young people in terms of ensuring that young Black women specifically use their voice and not allow others to diminish or silence their voices? Either way, Katie, you want to start that one? Or I see you thinking. You want me to move to Candace?
Yeah, Katie, you start. I'm thinking too.
That question is very sensitive. My answer may not be directly on point, but I'm very sensitive. It touches my heart in a sensitive way. I will tell you what many people don't know. If I didn't find my voice probably around 22, I would not be who I am. I would have died inwardly or outwardly, and I consider committed suicide. I was sexually abused for a long time when I was a kid. And I never told anybody, not my mama, I didn't tell anyone. Whatsoever.
Okay.
And until I was 22, I thought I was over it. Let me be clear. I thought I was over it. And the reason I didn't tell anybody, what happened, what would do with my family, the person was close within the general atmosphere of between family and friends. And I didn't feel that I was worthy enough for there to be an eruption about me. And so I didn't, I just let everything happen and run over me for over 11 years. And so finally, when I thought I was over it, and I said, oh, okay, now I can tell the world. And I got up in a public setting, and that's when my parents found out. That's when the world found out. And from that moment on, although I realized I still wasn't healed, it was my claim to, no, someone can at least be healed from the hell that I went through. And it then opened up the doors of people that I still mentor to this day. It opened up the doors for another venture that I have called Undefiled, for assisting women in embracing themselves post-abuse. Finding your voices, I will not be silenced, whether that's emotionally, physically, or even spiritually. Yeah. And so it continues to help me even as I teach my son. Don't let anybody take advantage of you, but don't get to the point where you're getting abused or you're getting diminished before you assert yourself in a respectful way. Go ahead and give expectations ahead of time. Yeah. So when you believe that God has made you worthy enough, and that it doesn't matter what you look like, what you have, what you don't have, and you don't feel like you're what will the world think. Once you get over what will the world think, then you find the work. I just shaved the side of my hair, and I'm a lawyer. What will the world think was all I was thinking about last week. Then I'm like, who cares? After a while? Yeah. So finding that's what I was thinking. It saved my life, finding my voice.
Oh, that's so powerful. That was powerful. Candace?
Yes. I mean, same thing, finding your voice, utilizing your voice, it will definitely heal you. And that is whether it's your artistic voice or just you speaking it out into existence. And a lot of times people don't want to hear your voice because they are afraid. They're afraid of what they have never seen. And my word says, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. Come on. And because of that, it allowed me to use my voice. Because of that scripture alone, I've been able to grow and to use my voice and to teach that to my daughter. My daughter is 6 years old, and that little mama, she got a voice. She has a voice now, whereas when I was 6 at that age, I didn't have a voice. I was a little more mild and meek, and sometimes I am still a little more reserved on that end, where she is not. And so it's my job to continue to develop that. So when she does go into school and she's in different settings, she's not belittled. We just had a little situation at school where, the little girl had been messing with her, and she would come, mommy, such and such, and this and that. And so when she went back to school, unfortunately, she kind of pushed the little girl a little bit, but she didn't understand her strength.
Right.
And so because of her strength, the little girl really fell down. And I said, Basha, it's okay to not be happy with the situation, but you can't touch people.
Yeah.
However, you can use your voice to say, hey, don't treat me like that. Right. Don't do that to me, you know, so that they understand you're very direct and they know where you're coming from. So just continuing those lessons for me, but using your voice, got to.
So I'm going to tell everybody what's in here. So I put in the limoncello, the ginger. I have put lemon juice in here. I'm going to shake this. We don't have to, once COVID is over, we don't have to have like a gathering or something at my house and I make up all these drinks and we can sit around and chat in person.
I'm here for it.
I'm gonna shake this up and then take this out. This is what it looks like on the inside for those who are watching. We're gonna pour this into our glass.
How much ginger are you using, Monica?
So it's 2. So this is really, so I made enough in here for 4 cocktails. So I'm gonna have to invite my sister over and hopefully she'll drink with me. But it's the same amount. So if you do 1 ounce of, this one says 2 ounces of limoncello, 2 ounces of ginger liqueur. Okay. If you lessen it, and it's just 1 ounce, 1 ounce. So it's equal parts.
Okay. Monica, the mixologist.
Listen, look, someone said, so in terms of wearing lots of different hats, that was going to be my next question is, so before I get there though, I do want to talk about the using of the voice part because I think it's so vitally important. This is a different generation of girls. So to your point, Candace, Basha, she's in line with, like, my niece is 14, almost 15 years old, and she is unapologetic in terms of using her voice, which is very different than I think our generation was. Mm-hmm. Not that our parents, I mean, at least my parents encouraged my sister and I to use our voice. But there's a time and place for everything. It's kind of the lesson we learned. Whereas this generation is like, no, there's no time. I'm going to check you now. I'm not going to allow you to get away with whatever you're saying or doing that is attempting to silence and belittle me. And I applaud them for that, because that's the type of thing I didn't have at 14 years old. I was just kind of observing stuff. So kudos to Basha. I agree with not putting hands on, but kudos to her for saying, but what you're not going to do, little girl, is you're not going to do X, Y, Z to me.
No, you're not.
So
Basha don't play.
Right.
She does not play.
Right. So I'm going to pour the champagne. I'll top that off with a little bit of bubbly. Don't go
over. That looks really good.
I'm going to taste it. I've never had this before. Let's see. That's good. Is
it sweet?
No, it's more refreshing. So the ginger kind of makes it taste like not ginger ale, but it kind of has like a ginger. The ginger's not overly powerful.
Oh, good.
It's not overly powerful. So if you wanted a little sweeter, like I said, just use Prosecco. I'm using real champagne, so that's good. I like both. So anyway, so my next question was going to be, we talked about using our voices and how important it is for young people for young girls to use our voice. We got 5 minutes left. I do want you all to talk about this idea of Black women not getting along and how important, because there's this misconception, and we're dispelling this myth, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series of shows about Black women not getting along because of what we see on TV with reality television, which I don't particularly like, because I think it feeds into this narrative that Black women don't get along with each other. How important has Black women been to the success of you all's businesses, whether it's dance or fashion, law? How important is this sister circle? I call this circle of sisters for a reason, because I believe that there is a unique sisterhood that Black women possess. How important is that tribe, is that sister circle to each of you all's individual successes?
I will say that it's essential. All of the majority of my clients, for style or Black clients in my law practice, the majority of my case referrals have been from my brown sisters. Mm-hmm. So it is not just important, a key element, essential.
Mm-hmm. Candace.
Okay, same thing. My studio, majority brown girls. That's what I wanted. That's what it was. Yes, I wanted to reach those brown girls and their parents about dance education, enrich their lives. As far as my clients, my entire team is brown. My entire team is brown. We help each other. I know I got my girl sister Katie over here. If I want to call her, I can reach out to her too. But even my clients, I have brown clients. I have clients that are white as well. It's across the board for me.
Yeah. So we have 3 minutes left, and I want you all, because I am a believer, one of the reasons that Keith and I started this show and started doing this podcast was to elevate us as a community and elevate Black businesses. And so we're very intentional about who we select as guests on our show. And so I am, again, extremely honored and thankful that you all agreed to join me on this Saturday morning. But I do want to give you all an opportunity to highlight your businesses, because this really was what this is about. Tell people how to find you, if they're looking for styling options. Tell us how we can find you if we want to get our gear in check. I tried my best to be as stylish as I could. This is as good as y'all gonna get on a Saturday in my house. So I did what I could do. But yeah, go ahead and tell us how we can reach you. Candace, I'm gonna let you start.
Okay, cool. You can reach me at Johnson@gmail.com. You can also go to my site, CandaceJohnson.cabbyonline.com. You can find me on Facebook, Signature Styles by K-John, as well as on Instagram, Signature Styles by K-John.
Perfect. Katie B?
You can find me on Instagram at Fashion Stylist KB, on Facebook, on Katie Brenson Fashion Styling, or Katie Marie, or you can give me a call, 813-919-8115. My email is stylistkatiebrinson@gmail.com. stylistkatiebrinson@gmail.com.
Perfect. So I do want to, and I'm going to put this out there, and the Lord and the universe will make this, the Lord will make this happen. And Candace have already touched on this. One of the things I really believe in is collaboration.
Yes.
I want to figure out a way for us in Tampa to do some type of collaboration where we're collectively working together to not only uplift each other, but to really share information with the broader public in whatever way that is. And I don't know what that looks like. We can get offline and have a conversation about it, but I am all about collaboration, because I think there's so much, there's so many resources and so much information that you all individually have, and that as a collective, there's so much more we can do in this area and beyond. And you all as stylists can help build each other. Katie uses people, uses stylists, might as well ask Candace, can I have some hobby products style my style, and vice versa. So I'm all about collaborative work.
Yes.
And I will tell you that there's a young lady that'll be on next week. Her name is Sarah Herring. And Sarah is, I was wanting her to be on this show, but she had another engagement. But she's a fashion stylist too. And Sarah has styled me plenty of times as well. And so Candace, you next on the list for me to reach out so I can get some stuff, add more clothes to the closet that I don't need to be adding to. So at any rate, it has been an absolute pleasure and a privilege for you all to join me. I'm so forever grateful to you all. I thank you all, our listening audience, for joining us this Saturday. I'm asked that you all tune in at 12:30. The Soul Purpose Kids are back, and they have a special guest. Shout out to Titus O'Neill for agreeing to join the Soul Purpose Kids at 12:30. And next week, join us. We will close up our Circle of Sisters for a celebration of Women's History Month in March. And we have some four dynamic, phenomenal women who will join us next week. So be blessed. Thank you all very much. See y'all next Saturday.